All right, so moving on to the final segment, I'll be sharing my thoughts on which NBA teams need to go ahead and blow it up. Blow it up. End it. End it all. So there's two teams on this list today for this segment. Team out being out in the East and the West. So we'll start off with the Western Conference here. This team, I believe, needs to blow it up as soon as possible. It's the Phoenix Suns. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's over. It's a wrap. The Suns, they need to blow this thing up. The experiment is over of the trio of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. I said to y'all last summer they should have blew this up on this podcast because you can't go anywhere with a trio of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal when Bradley Beal is unhealthy most of the time when the Phoenix Suns really need him. And you can't go anywhere where you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker playing 35 to 40 minutes per game per night on a nightly basis just to keep the team in a competitive and be a competitive team out on the court because there's really no good supporting cast around these three respective players. And the biggest move that the Suns made by the deadline was getting Cody Martin. How is that going to help you attempt to make a run out in the Western Conference? Because if you guys look at the Phoenix Suns second half, the second half for the Suns, it is brutal. Look at the schedule for the month of March. They play majority of contenders, and if they go under 500 in the month of March, you might as well say that they are in danger of missing the playoffs, and they're going to have to punch their ticket to get in based off the play-in tournament. But I feel like it's time to blow it up because Kevin Durant is 36. He's most likely to be traded this offseason. They're stuck with Bradley Beal's contract, a no trade clause in this contract. So at worst, if Bradley Beal doesn't want to raise this at all, you're gonna have to release him, and you might as well free up Devin Booker when it comes to this point. And the craziest thing is when you think about the Suns, at the end of the day, they were closer to winning a championship with a trio of Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton when they got to the finals in 2021 a few years ago. And Monty Williams won Coach of the Year a few years ago. Then you just ruined that, blew it up little by little, piece by piece. And you got further with that trio than you did with a trio of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. That's a damn shame. But getting more into depth about this, I'm not saying it was a mistake for the Suns to get Kevin Durant. No. Yeah, if you got a chance to get an all-time great, one of the greatest shooters of all time, to go put all your chips on the table to go win a title, that's what you do. And they did that at the 2023 NBA trade deadline when they got him from the Brooklyn Nets and rescued Kevin Durant from a sinking ship out there in Brooklyn. That was a good move. But the mistake that the Suns made was getting Bradley Beal to come to Phoenix. They should have never did that and should have left that situation alone. What they should have did was build a team, a really good team with significant role players and a great bench around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, two of the greatest scorers that some of the greatest scorers that the league has to offer. That's what they should have did. Instead, you took on one of the biggest contracts in NBA history at the time in Bradley Beal that from the Washington Wizards, and then you gave up Chris Paul in the deal. I mean, Bradley Beal for Chris Paul in a situation is not the end of the world, but when you look back at this could have been prevented, and you just built around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. You didn't have to get greedy because nowadays, when you really think about it, the era of having big threes, like the days back in the day with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, super teams don't win championships anymore in the NBA. In this modern time, right now, that's not how you win titles. How you win titles is having two stars together, and you build a foundation around the team with great coaching, having a great front office, and you get the players intact, that the role players that could step up and play well for you so you don't have to bring down and wear out your star players to force them to play 35 to 40 minutes a night just to give them a chance to win ball games. So I felt like that was a mistake there. And I really feel like until Bradley Beal wants to waive that trade clause He ain't going nowhere. And they could have did that if Bradley Beal just waived off that no trade clause. Maybe right now it'd be a different story for the Suns, and maybe they would have a chance for the second half because they probably could have got Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat. They're just in that situation with that sticky situation with Bradley Beal that they took on. If things don't get better, I still stand by the Suns. I think Kevin Durant's going to be traded this summer. But Devin Booker will probably be traded in a year as well. Because Devin Booker, in the prime of his career, knows that he could be a good number 2. I don't think he could be a number 1 on a championship contending team, but I think he'd be a good number 2 that could step up if the number 1 is out. But I don't think he can lead his own team to being a championship contending team. But I think Devin Booker, his time will be up in Phoenix in a year or so. I can see him being traded to some up-and-coming teams, young up-and-coming teams like the Houston Rockets. I think they would benefit the services of Devin Booker. That's actually a really good landing spot, actually. Devin Booker going to the Rockets, or him playing alongside Cade Cunningham and out there in Detroit with the Pistons. I like those options for Devin Booker, but I think he's going to be gone. And I think it is time to blow it up in Phoenix. Now, second team moving out to the East is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, it's over for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the 76ers right now are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, something that a lot of people like myself did not see coming this NBA season. They're bottom feeders out there in the Eastern Conference with teams like the Hornets, the Wizards, teams that you already knew weren't doing anything out in the East. That's where the 76ers are this year. And yes, I understand injuries have hit them hard. But since the trio of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George was created out in Philadelphia, they were meant to give teams like the Knicks problems, meant to give teams like the Celtics problems. This trio has only played a total combined 10 games together this NBA season. Joel Embiid is also going downhill. He's going to need another knee surgery this offseason, which is not a good sign. It could take a long recovery process. And I know Joel Embiid helped the United States win a gold medal this summer. But if you were the 76ers, you probably would have talked your way into Joel Embiid not being a part of that team, because him putting the wear and tear on his body during the summer, this could be the reason why the knee problems are getting worse. But I feel like Joel Embiid, his trade value is also gone right now as well, because nobody's giving up a lot for Joel Embiid. He's got knee problems. The 76ers just extended him to a 3-year, $190 million extension. If teams are going to go after Joel Embiid, they're going to finesse him. And at worst, have to give up 1 first-round pick. So, hey, if teams want to eat the cap, they can. I would pick, depending on the situation, I would call the 76ers and finesse them for Joel Embiid, because think about it. What teams are going to flock and get on the phone to get Joel Embiid with a player that's got knee problems, a player that is a former MVP, yes, but a player that has missed over 400 career games and only played in, a little bit over 400 career games. He's almost missed the same amount of games that he's played in the same amount of games in his NBA career, which is a wild stat. But if the thing is for the 76ers, if the 76ers don't shut down the season and let Joel Embiid rest, and also Paul George is banged up, he's not 100% healthy as well. If they don't let these two stars of Joel Embiid and Paul George rest, and they go ahead and play and try to make something happen, make something shake out there in the second half of the NBA season, they could possibly not only have to make the play-in tournament, but at best, but worse for them, they get the 8th seed out in the East, and they get clobbered by the Celtics or the Cavs in the first round. And if you do that, and the 76ers do make the playoffs, they get a top 8 seed, not only is that bad news for them, but you lose a top 7 lottery pick with the offseason that you will have no cap space to play with. So at best, for their best scenario, I would just say, hey, Joel, we're going to sit you, get better, recover, and hopefully you're 110% for the start of the next NBA season. Same with Paul George. You want to be booed up on the beach, hey, I'm telling you too, you're out, and we're gonna let you play next season because there's a lot at stake because the NBA lottery is so special. If you're in that position to have a top 7 selection, anything can go your way, and you could possibly end up with a top 5, top 3, or the number 1 pick. But if you go out there and try to stick your chest out, knowing damn well you're not in position to contend, you go out and possibly make the playoffs, and it bites you in the rear end later on because you lose out on the top 7 pick. And this offseason, you're not really going to get anybody because you have no cap space to play with. But another reason why the 76ers should just go ahead and blow it up and build around Tyrese Maxey, making the franchise piece, the franchise cornerstone for the sake of the future is, I'm looking at these contracts. Joel Embiid, aging player, injury-prone player. Paul George, aging player, injury-prone player. Do you know the price for Joel Embiid and Paul George is? A combined total of $400 million for players that have more PTO time than a lot of American workers out there right now, because they call out of work because they're always hurt. So my point is, and I'm going to close out by saying this, if you have the chance to pay your players, do it. But if you know that they're injury prone and you know that they miss a lot of time, why are you just giving out these extensions? Why are you giving a player that's past 32 years of age over $200 to join you during the offseason? Somebody needs to tell me how this makes sense, or why these players in the front office have the jobs that they do. Not taking away the basketball credibility that they have, but the decision making just makes you scratch your head. Like I just said, the Suns taking on Bradley Beal, that he has a no trade clause. Why would you do that when his contract is over $230 million and he's an injury-prone player? Joel Embiid, why give him a 3-year, $190 million extension? Injury-prone player. Paul George, history. You guys get my point. But I'm going to close it out by saying that those are the two teams that I do believe need to blow it up. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.